Hey, good evening, everyone. Hope you all, or actually, I'm believing you all had a very blessed day today. Weather's been beautiful out here, still a little bit chilly, but better than being 120 degrees, I suppose. Hope everybody's ready for Christmas coming up here in a couple of days. Hopefully, spending some time with some family. I'm going to enjoy time with my children and my grandchildren and extended family on Sunday down in Long Beach. So I'm looking forward to that time with my family as I always do. Be the first Christmas I spend with my youngest granddaughter. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Hey, Michael, what's up, man? You know, one of the first AA meetings I walked into, it was the first AA meeting I walked into, actually. I was detoxing, I had a back cold, I was sick, I was a mess. But, there's always one person that says something that sticks with me. And I remember a guy named Krusty Rusty, they called him. And he says, if you're drinking because him, her, or it, you're never going to quit drinking. Man, what's he talking about? And it stuck in my craw. I digested it for a couple of days. And I told my wife, I can't figure out what this means, man. But there's something about it that means a lot to me. So I saw him again at a meeting. Hi, beautiful bride. How are you? I saw him again at a meeting, my next meeting I went to. And I went up to him and said, hey, Rusty, what did you mean by what you said the other morning? If you're drinking because him, her, or it, they'll never stop drinking. He looked at me. He says, Randy, if you're drinking because you're a victim, you're never going to quit drinking. And man, that's all I needed to hear because I had been a victim for 38 years of my life at that point in time. And that's why I drank. Poor, pitiful me, And it's real easy to blame a lot of stuff on other people. So what I wrote in my book was a piece from page 148 under, it's the Getting Clean chapter 8. And it's called Shooting on Others. Shooting on others. I'm just going to read the whole paragraph from what I taught. Victimhood is an attractive addiction. It feels good in the moment. We get all puffed up in our ego state with self-righteous anger and blustery pride, and then start blaming other people. But it's only when we examine our own behavior that we can start to heal. Every time I blame the world or other people for my own problems, I try to find at least 3 ways that I might be at fault myself. So, being a victim, blaming all of our problems on other people is real easy when we're out there. But if we want a better life, we need to learn how to look within ourselves. Because most of the time when we're blaming other people, we're the real problem. So let's talk about one way sorry about that. Let's talk about one way to become a sure victim. I'll give you an example. It's kind of taken out of my book. It's kind of live. This is me, okay? But we all have a tendency to use the word should, right? The word should. And actually, should is a very shaming word. You should have done this. You should have done that. Or for most victims, or for most survivors, or for most people that feel real good about themselves, the minute you say should, they go right into shame. But be cautious of the words that you choose to use with people. We all have a tendency to use the word should, right? Okay, so here's the scenario. One day I was talking about my mother to a friend. And he started in, and I started in on the should words. I started in on saying should all the time. So my buddy pointed out, hey, you're talking about, I'm sorry, man. I'm tired right now, a little bit blustery. So I'm talking about my mother day, friend, I started on the should. For example, fortunately, my friend who is a fellow survivor gently reminded me that I was starting to should in public. And what was I shooting on? I was shooting on my mother. My mother should love their children. Mothers should protect them and always be gentle and kind. Yeah, well, mothers should. And according to the Bible, that's what a mother's job is to do, is to love us and to protect us and take care of us. Okay? And I don't want to discount that. You see, it's easy, really easy, to be certain of what everyone else should do. It's real easy to point the finger at my mother. You should be this way, you should be that way. But then I guess on the same hand, I should have been a better son. Okay? I don't want to get into the debate about I was being abused or I wasn't being abused. Just take if it was a perfect world. But see, it's really difficult to apply the certainty to ourselves. If only my boss would have paid me more money. If only my wife would have been more loving. That's a good one right there. When I look back on my marriage, when I had the affair in 2004, if only my wife, she should have been a better wife. When I look back at that time and I look at myself, I didn't love myself. How can I expect her to love me? Poor, pitiful me. If you got treated by your wife the way I got treated, you'd have an affair too. Victim, victim, victim. I spent months of meditation and journaling and speaking to my mentors. And as I did that, I discovered several character defects in myself. One of which was my dislike for my mother for all the ways that she had abused me. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Danny. All the ways that my mother had abused me. And I'm not going to deny that fact. I was abused as a child. There's no doubt about that. And no child should have to do that. But here's what I didn't see. Here's what I didn't think about. And I couldn't think about it until I got sober. Until I started my road to recovery. What about her life? What was it like for her? When I realized that my mother had grown up in a highly abusive family herself. She had been sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused. That insight is what led me to forgiving my mother. Now, doesn't mean what she did was okay. That's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is for me, not for her. But I quit being a victim and I started being a victor. Quit being a victim and started being a victor. See, life is full of letdowns. Life is full of disappointments. Love you too, son. And we just have to learn to live with them. And if we start shoulding everybody, then we need to start looking in the mirror about what we should be doing. And even if we are doing everything right, even if we are Christ-minded in the way we treat people, even if we treat people with love and respect and dignity, if they don't do that to us, that's on them, not on us. But as long as we play a victim, we're going to be in trouble. And the more I do what I do, the more I talk to men in recovery, the more I talk to men that are starting the journey, and the more I hear about the abuse that's happening to men, the more men are opening up to it. There's a lot of victims in this world. A lot of victims in this world. And so we don't want to minimize what happened to them at all. We need to make sure that we validate what happened to those men and women, both, okay? But men, mostly men. But then once we validate them, we show them the way to recover from that victimhood. We show them the way to be a victor. We be patient with them. We're tolerant with them. We allow them to be angry. That's what happened to me. I was allowed to be angry at my mother, at my stepfather, at God. But then I was shown how to work through that anger and how to forgive. And all that's a process. We don't justify and we don't validate what they do anymore. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Before recovery, all I knew how to do was to be a victim. All I knew how to do was to drink to get through my days. But once I stepped foot into recovery, even if it was for a day or 2 days, I've been shown another way to live. I've been given an opportunity to change my life. So if I choose to drink today, I have nobody to blame that on. I'm not a victim to anybody. I have nobody to blame that on but myself. We can no longer blame what we do to other people on what happened to us once we've been shown another way of life. And that's a message I'm trying to put out to everybody. You have choices, or you have one choice, before you get into recovery that will keep you as a victim for the rest of your life. But once you come into recovery, you have another choice. And if you don't choose the road to happiness, the road to recovery, which is hard, instead you choose to drink, it's nobody's fault but your own. So be patient with the victims. Love them like you would want to be loved. Understand them. Be patient with them. That's the only thing that's going to work. Patience and tolerance. One of our codes. Love, patience, and tolerance. Okay, so that's a little bit about victimhood. Sorry for the beginning. I've come in here a little tired and rattled. I should have prayed and I didn't, so forgive me for that. You can read more about this in my book, Healing the Man Within. This is in chapter 8, Healing the Man Within, which you can get on Amazon.com. Or if you live in the Coachella Valley, you can now get it at the Barnes & Noble in the Palm Desert Town Center, Westfield Town Center. It's available there. My life coaching, Save Your Life, ChangeYourLifeStoryNow.com, ChangeYourLifeStoryNow.com. Yeah, I'm taking life coaching clients right now. Just go to my website. You can see what it's all about. I'll work with you if you're stuck in finances, if you're stuck in your marriage, if you're just stuck in recovery. I've got experience, a wealth of experience in life, and I'm going to utilize all that to help people grow themselves into a better life. So check that out. And the couples workshop I've been talking about is going to be Saturday, January 28th. Right now the time is from 11 to 2, but I haven't confirmed that yet. But January 28th, 11 to 2, it's going to be a couples communication workshop. And I'll have that up on my website here in the next couple of weeks to register with as well. And again, my Ride Across America is taking shape. I'm just doing the footwork now to make it happen. So if anybody wants to be of service, I can use some marketers and fundraisers. I could really use your help. So I hope you got a little bit out of that tonight. And if you're a victim, I hope this makes you jump the fence and become a victor. Until next week, I love you. Have a super blessed week. And if nobody says they love you today, God does, and so do I. Good night.